A lot of my students, when I teach them a new scale, let's say the blues scale, they practice it over backing tracks quite a bit, and what happens is they're so worried about going outside the lines and making mistakes that they're not musical at all. They'll sound something like this. Okay, that doesn't leave you much to chew on, does it? It sort of just comes and goes in one ear, out the other, and forgotten. So if you don't want to write forgotten licks, you have to start phrasing. You have to start saying something in a bold way, okay? And a great example of that is Jimmy Page on Whole Lotta Love. I always wonder how his licks were so legendary. You know, maybe it's because they recorded it in Aleister Crowley's house, and maybe it's got some mystical voodoo attached to it. I have no idea. I'm not going to discount that. But what I really want you to do is to start to just utilize a few things that I noticed that he does, okay? When I did his artist series, I learned a whole bunch about his playing. And one thing is that he could take a pretty simple scale and say a lot with it. So the Whole Lotta Love solo, the little bits that he does, they're just like blasts of phrasings, okay? So here's the first one. Okay, you see how it's nothing too crazy. It's the blues scale, once again like before, but it's done in a manner that's saying something. It's short and sweet, but it punches you in the face. Okay, that's a quick little lick, kind of does its thing and gets out of the way. Okay, now the next few require some crazy bends that you're going to see are very musical, very phrase-based. Can you hear the next one already? This is the one with the huge bend in it. Alright, so you get the idea. It's like short, digestible bits of music that are called phrases. Versus what I did earlier where I was just kind of... You know, that sounds good. If you're playing along to a band and you just want to try out a scale, that's totally fine. But you feel the difference, you see the difference. What I just played there was very defensive, very scared, very timid, whereas Page, like I said before, is kind of like coming out and grabbing you. Now, a great way to get into Page-like phrasing is to start to reverse the way you perceive soloing. So instead of looking at the neck and actually seeing dots, for example, like you would on a chart, and following them, you know, we're not playing connect the dots here when you're doing guitar. You're trying to express something musically and creative. So to do that, I have to visualize in my head. This helped me a lot. The creative, wherever it is in the ether, going to your brain, flowing through your fingers onto the guitar, out your speakers or whatever. That's more of the pathway you want to see your playing go, all right? So maybe you might want to do a backing track and just have the hits there. Just go. Space. And then make up your own phrasing over the top of it. But a big part of it is to listen and see what comes to you first. And from there, you can transcribe it yourself when you get a little bit better at finding the notes that you hear, and then unleashing that into the world. All right, let me just do this as a quick experiment. I wasn't planning on doing this, but let's say I just had the hits, okay? And by the way, it's really hard not to hear Jimmy Page's licks because you're so used to them. So you might want to try a different track, but I'll start with this one. Okay. Oh no, that was kind of cool. Really helps with the wah pedal to really express what I'm hearing. But you get the idea. Short, sweet phrase, something bold, something that kind of comes out and attacks people. Now, you don't have to always play like that. You know, you don't have to pretend your guitar is a weapon all the time. But it really helps if you're trying to do musical phrasing to get started in this manner, and later on you can sort of relax a little bit and back off, and the phrases will just start to come out when you're improvising versus just that droning noodling thing that seems to keep happening to people. And that happened to me for half of my career, okay? So I'm speaking out of experience here. I'm trying to get you out of the rut that I was in for a long time before you find yourself too deep in the hole, okay? All right, everyone. Hopefully that was fun to listen to. It was fun breaking out the SG again. You got to do that whenever you play Page, that or the Les Paul. Yeah, hopefully that was fun, and we'll catch you guys at a later date. Thanks, you guys. Bye-bye.